Welcome to the Couchboard podcast, where we naively talk about anything and everything for your listening pleasure. I'm Max, and as usual, I have Jordan and Colby with me today. Today, we are going to be talking about my Sandwich Manifesto. And what that means, you'll just have to keep listening, because it's pretty intense. I've been told I have a very particular taste in sandwiches. And so I'm going to show everyone the way to sandwich immortality later in this episode. But before we do that, let's talk about nothing at all. Jordan, Colby, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing great. Fantastic.
Super good. I finished the playset. I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
It's built.
The tree, Skyfort.
The Skyfort 2. It's pretty dope.
How many limbs have been broken from swings falling out of the...
None, but it has a pretty steep pitched roof, and my daughter, as soon as I got the roof on, my daughter tried to climb on top of the roof.
Oh boy.
So I'm expecting some injuries.
Kids are so dumb.
Yeah.
we put those little like cloth sunshades up in our backyard. And, like, our boys, they try to devise ways to climb on top of them and, like, hang out like they're hammocks. I'm like, no, guys, we can't do this. Anyway.
Yeah, I like to call it irrational confidence, where it's just little kids, they have there's that, they're missing that sensor in their brain that alerts them to danger.
I don't know that that's unique to children. I know a lot of adults that have that too.
Yeah. Humans.
Although my daughter, who's only 2 right now, she used to be like that, but now she's like overcompensated and is too careful for her own good. So, yeah. But yeah, what have you guys been up to? Colby, we'll start with you. What's new in your world besides getting that playset set up?
Well, that really has been my whole world. No, but nothing much. Hanging out with family as much as we can, social distance like over the summer, and playing some doubles volleyball, which is fun. I was never into volleyball, but like all our friends growing up were super into volleyball, and I don't think I'd ever played an organized game of volleyball until like a couple of years ago. So it's pretty fun. I like it. I don't know that I would like indoor, but I like the doubles outdoor variety.
It's a blast. I feel like organized volleyball is the only way to play volleyball. If you just like set up a net and get whoever playing, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like this is not fun. Just like where everyone does anything they can to possibly get it over the net. Oh, it's the worst. I mean, me and my Olympic team, we were pretty serious about things. So, I mean, I can't play with these underlings.
I like to play on the beach in my Speedo, you know.
Yeah.
Show people how it's done. Show how a real man plays volleyball.
Yep.
Yikes.
And give people a treat, you know.
Put on a show.
Yeah, real show. I can't play the game without having crowds of people marvel at my moves.
Right.
I can't even. I'm trying to burn that image out of my brain for all eternity. How do I get it out?
Oh, you can't.
You can't. It's forever imprinted there. Enjoy.
We'll post it on Instagram.
There we go. Yeah, once we get to our 10 million followers on Instagram, which shouldn't take that much longer at the rate we're going, I'll pose in a Speedo.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Episode 16. Let's remember this.
Let's do it.
It's out there. You have to
there.
follow through.
I'll do it. 10 million followers. Bring it on.
Oh man, it'll be a 2-on-1.
So many phantom accounts.
Yeah,
just hire bots after bots. Oh man, yeah. Well, that's fun. Volleyball's good. I've personally pitter-pattered a little bit here and there with the bunk beds. I mean, they're usable. The structure's up. The mattresses are on them. But it's not painted. Don't have all the molding everywhere it should be. I've got one more little cupboard to make. We'll get there eventually. So that's always fun. What else? I watched, what was it called? Logan Lucky or Lucky Logan?
Oh, I love that movie.
Logan Lucky.
Lucky.
Great.
First
great
time?
movie. Yeah. I had never seen it. Heard lots of good things about it, and it's fun. Another great Southern accent for Daniel Craig. He knocks it out of the park every time.
He does pretty good.
So
those rules must be kind of fun because there's just no rules at all. It's just, I'm sure a lot of it was unscripted and just like go haywire on set, and that must be a fun role to play, and he did a good job with it. I love how like the beginning, was it the opening scene where like they're in like the bar and Adam Driver just like beelines out the bar and just like throws like, what does he make, like a Molotov cocktail and throw it into their truck? It's just so preposterous.
Oh man.
Goes out there, grabs a brick first. That's my favorite part. Throws that through the windshield. Then makes a Molotov cocktail and blows a car up. Good stuff. It was a good movie. I loved it all the way up until the ending. I won't spoil anything. It is good. But the way that it wraps up, it's good. It's satisfying in a way, but then it's also like
ambiguous.
I mean, it is ambiguous, but I think
they kind of leave it open.
Yeah, I think you kind of have a idea of where it's what's coming, but I liked it. It was a good heist. It was a good like Southern heist movie. It was fun.
It was funny.
What else? You have anything else going on, Jordan? Smoked any meats lately?
I haven't. I've got another pork belly in the freezer. I got to get out and do some more bacon. But no, I just nothing. No smoking. I did cook some steaks on Sunday, just on the grill. It was good, top notch, real good. Put a nice little butter sauce on just as it's wrapping up.
That's what you got to do. Yeah, just let it melt into there, and it's just so good.
Good
Can't
stuff.
go wrong with steak and butter.
Yeah, I got it. You can't. I do.
Says my nutritionist. I don't have.
Yeah, I did. I haven't cooked it yet, but Costco had beef tenderloins on sale, and so I'll have to make some stuff out of that. Some steak, some fillets, and stuff. So we'll see what comes out of it. I don't know. Shoot me some ideas what I should do.
I'll think about it. Alrighty, so me, so speaking of movies, I watched Lego Batman this weekend, which I've seen before, but I didn't really remember it very well. And kind of similar to the original Lego movie, it's freaking funny, but it's also just a lot. Like, it's just constant barrage of just like outrageousness and craziness. Like, it doesn't stop moving. It's just, I don't know, after like an hour, my wife and I were just like, I'm just kind of beat up by this movie. I mean, we both really like it, but it's a lot.
There's they just jam pack it with jokes, like kids jokes in the moment and stuff, but then there's like callbacks to all of the other Batman movies like that have ever been made, and like it's just constantly like making fun of Batman as a character and like all the villains and stuff. Like it's funny, but there's a lot of moving parts with it. So
my favorite part about the Lego movies are they have like access to so many properties and they just throw them in. Like Lego Batman has Voldemort and Sauron and the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz. Like, it has so many other people in it.
Because
the original Lego movie was the same. Yeah, because why not? They can do it, right? That's just funny.
Yeah, I think that's like that's probably like one of the best examples of just how ridiculous it is. It's like you've got Voldemort flying around and Sauron's like the eyes like looking. It's just, oh my gosh. to a certain degree, you kind of want them to slow it down a little bit, but they can't because that's what makes it so good. But there was like a joke in there. I forget if they were going through like the suits or like all these different like Batman characters, and my wife and I were like looking at each other like, are these like really real? Like, were these actually like in all the comics? And like but then they like stop in the movie because like, I mean, they set it up so perfect. They're like, are these actually real? I don't know. Probably worth a Google. Like that's kind of like exactly what.
Question mark man or what was the
hot dog guy,
man.
Condiment King.
Yeah, exactly.
Condiment King.
What?
Yeah.
So that was fun to rewatch that. I did buy a new video game. I was not going to buy it, but since I literally sit at home most days and my wife's been busy with work in the evenings, I was like, I'm just going to buy this new video game called Ghost of Tsushima, which is kind of like the last PS4 exclusive before the next generation rolls around. It's a pretty cool game. It's interesting. You play as a samurai as the Mongols are invading Japan, and some light spoilers here for the first little bit of the game. But the Mongols invade Japan. You and like kind of like the group you're with get obliterated for the most part, and so but you manage to survive. And so it's all about the samurai who's like trying to take back his homeland. But then he starts having this tension of like, does he be like more stealthy and kill his enemies like from like a more stealthy perspective, which kind of goes against the samurai code. So that's an interest. I like little tensions like that. It's like, oh, do you like live by the code? Do you live with honor, or do you do whatever it takes to beat your enemy? And that's why it's called Ghost, and that's kind of his legend. So pretty interesting, pretty cool game. It is beautiful. It is breathtakingly gorgeous. So kudos to the folks at Sucker Punch that made that game, Ghost of Tsushima.
And it's kind of like you get into like little versus battles, right? Like
it's usually there's a couple duels that I've had, but a lot of times you're like fighting like a handful of people at the same time. And there's like different stances that you have to use depending on your enemy. So that's fun. It gives it some variety, and it's open world, which is also I don't know. Like, I'm not actually I'm probably in a big minority here where I'm not a huge fan of open world games, because I actually don't really enjoy just like randomly going out and just looking for random trinkets and like random like side quests. I feel like a lot of times they wear out their welcome and they get somewhat redundant. But this one, it's just so beautiful, and so far I've just had fun with it. I haven't been playing it a ton, but every now and then I'll pick it up and play for a couple hours, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Good. And then other than that, I baked a loaf of bread over the weekend, so I made myself a nice little wheat country loaf. Put some seeds and stuff on the outside, which I've never done before. I put some oats. So yeah, that was fun. It was a nice little activity. Sometimes I do that with my daughter on Sundays. We'll bake something if sometimes my wife will teach like a Sunday school class or something, and so way to keep that 2-year-old brain occupied for a little bit.
Nice.
Oh, and then I do also want to say NBA is coming back this week. They've already been like scrimmaging and stuff, so they've been in the bubble for a couple of weeks. But I've actually been surprised and like impressed that so far it's looking good. And they seem to be doing a good job of containing the virus in the bubble, and they're moving things in the right direction versus, the
Baseball.
MLB also kicked off this week, and they're already having to delay games because they're not putting their people in a bubble, which again, I can appreciate that, but I think at this point it's like, if you don't put people in a bubble, you just have to assume there's going to be outbreaks of COVID. There's just no getting around it, I think, at this point.
He lives in a bubble?
with baseball,
Boy.
with baseball, you've got a little bit deeper of a bench than basketball. I mean, I feel like if anyone on a basketball team gets it, like that's a huge, a huge detriment to the whole team. And it will be interesting to see what football does too.
I think football is rejecting the bubble. I think they've said they're not doing the bubble.
Yeah, they're not.
Which again,
the NCAA is doing some type of bubble where I think there's a couple conferences that are saying they're only going to play within their conference. They're not going to travel. I mean, it's dumb because some schools span states or some conferences span states, so you're going to be flying anyway. But then someone like one of your rivals might not be in the same conference, but you play them every year and they're right across the street, and now you're not playing them. Anyway, it's weird setup.
A mess.
But yeah. One great clip I saw was the Philly games. The Philly fanatic was in the stands trying to start the wave all by himself, looking around. He just kept going, kept trying to get that wave going. No one was around. It was empty.
That's funny.
It is interesting the difference like it's making not having fans in the I've only watched one of the NBA scrimmages so far, and I was just thinking, if you're not at the game, it probably doesn't make that big of a difference. I mean, I obviously knew it would make some difference, but it really does make a difference. And I just think, especially when I think of the NBA, because it's a game of runs and there's just anyone can make up any deficit, but you kind of there's an absence of energy, that you can just sense while you're watching these games on TV without the crowd there. Where, if the home team is down and they make a big run, like you can just feel the energy from the crowd usually while you're watching on TV. Or if they blow a big lead, like you can feel the disappointment of the crowd, and that's just missing in this new ball. But again, after not having live professional sports for so many months now, I'll take whatever I can get. So thrilled to see it back. I'm very interested in seeing where the next couple months go. But again, tip my hat to the NBA and all those players that so far they seem to be pulling it off quite well.
Yep. It's good to have some normalcy back, a little bit in a way, but we'll get there.
I hope so. I need it. I need some football in my life.
I know. I wonder what's going to happen there, especially with college.
Yeah.
My suspicion is nothing's really going to happen this next season for college football, even if they did say.
You mean they're not going to play?
Yeah, that's my suspicion, that it's just not going to work. It's one thing to do it at like the professional level because, you're paying all those guys a lot of money. Like the optics of it are very different versus I think at the college level where it's just not the same.
Yeah, but it's hard to just throw away someone's senior year, just say, oh, we're not playing.
Well, they did it in college basketball this year. That didn't stop them.
Yeah. Throughout
Same
the tournament.
Thing. I mean, most sports are like that. Some schools completely said, we're not doing any sports, so kind of hard to, even with high school stuff, same thing. Good luck getting scholarship because no one's watching you play your senior year. So,
the schools are harder. College is harder because, there's a responsibility for the well-being of those students more than there is like in pros where it's like you're willingly doing that, whereas university are primarily educational. So I don't know. I feel like they have to be a little more careful.
And I feel like the pros,
hopefully they can do something.
Yeah, I feel like with the pros, I think a lot of times they gave them, the opportunity just to bow out. If at least I think they did in the NBA, where if you don't want to play, you don't have to play. Obviously, we're not going to pay you. But I mean, for some, that's like I know Gordon Hayward, who's plays for the Celtics. His wife's having a baby sometime in the next couple months, and he was like, "Yep, easy choice. I'm not going to play." So he bowed out, which probably stinks to be a Celtics fan because he's a key part of that team. But I mean, again, they're NBA players. Not all of them, but some of them, have a lot more financial flexibility than your typical college student does, and so they can make that choice. But yeah, we'll see.
Faux show.
Alrighty. Should we jump into today's topic? The Sandwich
do it. I'm
Manifesto. So, before we jump into the Sandwich Manifesto, I think I should attach a disclaimer to it because I was reading. So I have full transparency before people get annoyed with me. It's like I know that my views are probably pretty extreme. Most people don't agree with a lot of the things I'm about to say. And I don't consider myself a picky eater at all. But for some reason with sandwiches, I am insanely picky. Like if I'm like hungry and like food is served to me, I'll eat it. But if I'm hungry and you serve me a mediocre sandwich, there's a good chance I'll just let myself starve to death because I hate, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I hate a bad sandwich. So,
full transparency, Max is a fanatic, and Colby and I have no idea what to expect here.
Yeah, I haven't told them. I fully expect as I go through this that you guys are probably going to disagree with most of my points. And again, none of this is made up. I'm a man of integrity. This is all 100% true. I was actually going through this with my wife earlier today to see if like she could think of anything crazy about my sandwich preferences that I've missed. But like even just like walking her through some of these things, like she was getting visibly annoyed and upset and just like, this is so stupid. Like no one, she's like, you have such terrible taste in sandwiches. Like,
wait, have you actually written a manifesto here?
I have written.
You should frame it and put it right next to your front door.
I know. The Sandwich Manifesto. All right, here we go. So I'll read my little introduction. I did and it didn't, right? I mean, a lot of this is paraphrase. All right. Hear ye, and partake in the Sandwich Manifesto. All are expected to read and understand this document in its entirety. Those who do not follow the principles are doomed to a lifetime of mediocre sandwiches. Those who take this document seriously will achieve sandwich immortality. This document is broken into 3 sections: the do nots, think about what you're doing, and sandwich enhancers. So let's start with the do nots. And these are all
just paraphrased, right?
These next ones are all like paraphrased. So I'm just going to explain. All right, so I'm just going to go point by point and let you guys kind of respond to my angry rantings. All right, point number 1 of the do nots. Regular mayo, Miracle Whip are absolute garbage, and they should not be used on any sandwich ever.
Whoa.
Period.
Pork chop sandwiches. What's your problem with regular mayo? So are you talking about like spicy mayo is okay?
Yeah, so like any kind of like if you doctor up the mayonnaise, I can let that pass. But like just the flavor of regular old mayonnaise, blah. And fortunately with mayonnaise, like it's easy to mask that flavor. You put like anything into it, make it into an aioli or whatever. Totally cool with me. But just straight up mayonnaise, no.
But that's okay. So that's just like, okay, all right, keep going. Never mind.
I can get on board a little bit. I mean, Miracle Whip, it just takes too artificial, too sweet, too like it doesn't belong to me. Mayo,
I like
though,
the tangy whip, the tangy zip of Miracle Whip.
It's so familiar. What is that from?
That's it's The Office when Jim impersonates Stanley. I never had like regular mayo growing up. We always just had Miracle Whip. I don't know why, but that's like what my mom
I feel like we
bought.
had a lot of Miracle Whip in my house growing up too, and maybe that's why I just dislike it so much. But
I never really could tell a difference.
But to me, I mean, I could kind of get behind what you're saying because mayo is like the base of cooking when it comes to sandwiches. Like, I mean, it's your butter. Like, you got to have butter in your food or your oils, right? I mean, you got to have something fatty to bring out the other richnesses in the sandwich.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like mayo doesn't really, when you put it in a sandwich, it doesn't have a taste. It's like moisture and enhances other taste,
Creamy.
but it's not. Yeah, it just makes it creamier. Yeah, I
disagree. I think you can get that richness from like your cheese and your meat. And I think the mayonnaise is there just to kind of keep it from being too dry of a sandwich. But I think you can achieve that through other channels, or again, literally do anything at all to that mayonnaise. No ketchup.
What do you?
No.
But ketchup and mayonnaise together, fancy sauce.
No, and that I actually can't get behind either. Ketchup and mayonnaise. That's a Utah thing, though.
Fry sauce.
Yeah, fry sauce. And
I mean,
there's a little more to most fry sauce, but
I have nothing against a good chipotle mayo or whatever.
Yeah, I like a chipotle mayo.
They're good. They're good, but I can't wave off a regular mayo either. I mean,
that's fine. Again, you just can live in sandwich mediocrity for the rest of your life.
I feel like it depends on what you're going for. If you want like a classic sandwich where like you have like ultra good meats and like ultra good cheese, you kind of just want the plain mayo because you don't want too much going on because you want to experience that freshness and quality.
You know, like there was one sandwich place that I used to love, but they had like an herbed mayo, and that was wonderful because you just tasted the herbs, and then you still got all like the creaminess and the richness that you guys were talking about, but you don't have that awful mayo flavor. So
don't go full mayo. Rule number one for
mayo.
Max.
All right, I'm gonna keep us moving because
all right,
as you can tell, and some of these are. We can go down rabbit holes on some of these. All right. Next up, closely related to the mayo rule. Any kind of salad sandwich? No. So I'm like talking about chicken salad sandwiches, egg salad sandwiches. Nah. Part of that's because of the mayo factor is too strong. It's too prevalent. And then also the texture is just... Sometimes it's not my, I don't know, maybe it's not so much a texture thing. It's more of a mayo thing than anything else. But I'm just, can we get to a world where we just get away from those salad sandwiches, especially when I see like a chicken salad sandwich with grapes in it? No, absolutely not. We cannot have these sandwiches rolling around our streets, people. Get rid of them.
Well, the worst is that they come in vending machines.
Yeah,
you usually see those in vending machines.
Horrify me. So that is a great example. If I am starving and someone brings me a vending machine sandwich, or tuna salad. Oh, tuna salad is probably the worst because it smells like that. I just don't understand
tuna and egg salad sandwiches in vending machines. It's like, who thought of this? Why? Why on earth would you put these things into a vending machine?
Ooh, 75 cents for salmonella. That sounds great.
Well, we do have 9.5 million listeners, soon to be 10 million, so they can get me in that Speedo. Whoever is out there that is buying these sandwiches in these vending machines, please write us and please explain. Like, help us understand what's going on. What do we not know about these sandwiches?
Are there good ones? Are there good brands out
there is there
that we're missing?
Is there a variety of like, oh yeah, definitely don't get these brands, but if you are at a vending machine and there's this one kind of egg salad sandwich brand, like, go for it.
There's hard-boiled eggs in vending machines too.
That's always weird to me too.
It's outrageous.
Yeah. What about a meatball sub?
I love a meatball sub, actually.
All right. So
I absolutely love a good meatball sub. But, and I don't want to get into this too much right now. More to come on this later in the manifesto.
Right.
Because a meatball sandwich usually has got a lot of sauce in it. So you've got to prepare your bread for that kind of sandwich.
That's true.
You can't just
it'll get soggy.
slather on a bunch of sauce onto a roll that hasn't been toasted or equipped to deal with that. I don't want no super soggy sandwich.
I don't want no scrubs.
You don't want the bread falling apart on you when you're trying to eat it.
That's right.
I agree. Right. I don't hate like chicken salad sandwiches, but I would never pick it. Like, I would never choose that over another kind of sandwich. And I think tuna is disgusting.
Yeah, tuna. You always remember that? Remember that, like in the lunchroom when some kid would bring tuna and everyone freak out and be like, "Oh, not tuna!"
They were such a loser.
I know. Parents, don't send your kids to school with those tuna salad sandwiches, because kids are ruthless. They're so mean.
But I mean,
Definitely,
they deserve it for bringing tuna.
The salad sandwiches, not my first choice.
All right, I'm surprised so far. You guys are being semi-agreeable to some of my strong opinions. All right.
I feel like those are like convenience sandwiches. It's like, oh, I got to make something real fast. I got a can of chicken and a bunch of mayo and some grapes.
Mayonnaise and some grapes. Some nuts.
And celery. But at that point...
Yeah.
At that point, just make yourself a peanut butter and jelly.
Okay, more to come on peanut butter and jelly later.
I've tried to research who invented the PB&J because, like, we owe them a debt as a society.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty. Next up, regular sliced sandwich bread, the kind you buy at the store, especially white, left alone, and it's just straight out of the bag. No, absolutely not okay for a sandwich, because there's no texture with that bread. So I can't eat a sandwich that's all like soft and squishy, and a lot of that bread is just too soft for me. So I have to put, if I'm gonna have a sandwich using regular old like sandwich bread versus a roll or a baguette or something, I have to put it in a toaster. I can't. I seriously think if someone served me like a sandwich without having toasted that bread first, I would just pass. Again, depending on the social circumstances, if I could get out of it, I would do anything in my power to get out of it.
Oh, all right. Well, that's,
I can see that. If I have access to a toaster, I toast my bread.
Yeah.
I mean, even for PB&Js.
Ah, interesting.
Really?
Yeah, and then the peanut butter gets a little melty. It's pretty good.
See, I love like a panini, like a grilled little panini.
More on those later too.
That's like the best. But it takes so much work to get up the little George Foreman, and then once you're done with with making it and eating it, then you got to clean up this buttery griddle that's not easy to clean. They never make the little spatula thing that they give you to clean it. It doesn't really work very well.
It's a business idea right there.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I loved panini so much. I thought, okay, I'm doing this right. So the grill press I bought, I don't know what, Cuisinart or whatever, but you can remove the grill, the plates, but still you get butter underneath the plates or in the grease chute or whatever, and there's always going to be a mess. You can't get away clean.
Impossible.
Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, this one will be the controversial one that will probably make people upset. But I'm gonna go out there on the record and say the good old PB&J is overrated. It's not my. I can't even tell you when the like PB&J.
I might rate right now.
Like my wife. So, and I'm married to a peanut butter freak. I mean, seriously, if there's not peanut butter in the house, like all hell will break loose. Like my wife has to have peanut butter.
Well, good for her.
And I could go forever without eating peanut butter. So my wife and my daughter, they love PB&J. I would say it's probably been over 20 years since I've had a PB&J.
What? 20 years?
20 years since you've had a PB&J?
I never. And I just don't ever see myself, even when I'm watching my wife and my daughter, they'll make a PB&J, I have zero interest in joining them on that. None.
I honestly, I'm having a hard time looking at you.
Fortunately for people listening to the podcast, they don't have to look at my face. But I recognize this one is... But again, to me, it's just a mess. It's just like a gross, squishy, blah, blah.
That's why you toast
food.
it. Toast it.
Yeah, maybe I could try getting the toast, but then what kind of jelly do you use? Because isn't like grape the classic, and I just can't see myself doing a grape.
Duh.
Grape is classic. I go with the grape, but strawberry's not bad.
There's
What about raspberry? Would raspberry be good?
Raspberry. Oh, what a noob.
You get all the seeds in there. It's gross. Then they try to sell you the seedless stuff, but then it's like I should just be eating strawberry. It's too much.
Yeah. Classic grape, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, you got to go grape. Nice peanut butter and jelly with a glass of milk. I mean, come on.
No, it's heaven. That's what they serve in heaven.
That's right. Every street corner vendor is just handing out PB&Js.
With a glass
Maybe
of milk.
I could get behind, was it like the Elvis version where you have like some banana and like some honey or something? Like maybe that could be.
Okay, peanut butter and banana is a dope sandwich too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you panini that thing?
I bet you could, and it would be really good.
Yeah, get it all nice and warm.
And if you're really naughty, you can sneak a little Nutella in there.
Yeah, I like Nutella.
But I will give you this. When I'm thinking, oh, I've got my lunch to make, I don't think I'm going to go make my peanut butter and jelly now. But
when do you guys eat peanut butter and jelly then?
When I'm making it for my kids, then I'm like, oh yeah, that's delicious. I'm going to have 3 myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing. Or like when you're like working in the yard and you're like, I have 5 minutes and I need something to eat.
Yeah, these thoughts never cross my mind ever. I'm just never craving it.
Huh. You're psychotic.
I know. And now you're starting to understand why my wife was getting like visibly upset as I was going through the manifesto with her earlier today.
Well, I would say they've got plenty of jellies, jams, and preserves out there. So just venture down that peanut butter jam aisle, and they're hard to find. I don't know why, but they're always hard to find, the peanut butter jam aisle. But once you do, they've got a good 8 or 10 feet of choices.
But if it comes in the same jar, steer clear.
Yeah. Those are very suspicious. All right.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we leave this peanut butter and jelly conversation, can we just have a talk about these natural peanut butters? I'm not a huge fan of like having to mix up my peanut butter because the oil separates from the rest of it. Give me just the good old crunchy Jif where it's just always this beautiful, luscious thing, which maybe it's bad for you or whatever, but I don't know. It's just the perfect texture. And even after like I beat the the natural peanut butter to death and mix it all up, it still doesn't really have that Jif texture that I like.
No, it's still runny. I mean, maybe. Well, people say what they want, but they say that your Jif, your Skippy, they're sugary. They've got lots of sugar on top of the peanuts that are already in them. But you compare the labels, come on, they're pretty darn similar. The almonds are the same thing. Generally, there's the oil sitting on top. And if you're going to do that, leave me some space to try and mix it up.
Right.
I mean, you go that first go around, it splashes everywhere. It ruins your clothes. It's the worst. But no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Jif is the way to go.
Yeah. I don't care if it's Jif or Skippy. I prefer crunchy.
No, Jif.
But no one else in the household does.
Always Jif.
Always
Jif, always creamy.
Oh,
but
really?
Skippy, Peter Pan, they're right out of there.
Oh, Peter Pan,
Jif.
I haven't seen that in forever, but I remember as a kid not liking Peter Pan at all.
Yeah.
Is Peter Pan, it must be like the bargain cheap peanut butter.
It must have been in the day.
I don't know.
It had a weird taste.
I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
But they also have, they've got the Biscoff cookie butter.
Oh, that stuff's amazing.
I've not had that, but that sounds wonderful.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like creamy. It's amazing. Creamy cookie bits like peanut butter. It's the best thing I've ever had, maybe ever in my life.
Fantastic.
So I will say, like eating like peanut butter on toast, I can do that, but it's the combination of peanut butter and jelly. I can't get behind it. mentally. I'm just not there.
Why don't you throw some Nutella in there? Nutella and
I would
peanut
do
butter?
that.
That's a good.
Oh, wait,
song.
Nutella and jelly or Nutella and peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
Or fluff. A little fluff and peanut
Yeah, I
butter.
can get behind that too.
Little fluff, peanut butter, and jelly.
It's for some reason the fruitiness, like the fruity jelly, like mixed with the peanut butter. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling that that harmony.
You are a thief of joy.
I am.
So you're telling me back in the day when we worked at Target together and during the holidays they would put out just bread, peanut butter, and jelly in the break room. You
there's
didn't
no
make
way
yourself
I
a
was making
PB&J.
There's no way
you
I
never
ever
one.
made a peanut butter. No way. Absolutely not. Zero
Wow.
chance.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and that's just like that's almost like the last place I'm going to venture into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich where it's just bread and like these random knives sticking out of these peanut butter and jelly giant jars and just it's too much. It's too much for me.
All right.
All right, let's continue with this manifesto.
All right. So last part of the do nots. So be mindful. You gotta be mindful of your sauces, you know. So like we were talking about with like the meatball sub, you know, you gotta properly prepare your bread, or you've gotta like. I just don't like it when my bread gets soggy. Long story short, so that's why I like my bread toasted, or I like some kind of separation between the bread and the sauce. Like, so this is what my wife and I were arguing about. She's like, no, you've got to like spread like your mayo or your aioli or whatever on the bread itself. But if I'm building a sandwich, I'm probably just going to, you know, like if I'm using like a squirt bottle or something, I'm just going to squirt it like into the middle of it, into the thick of things.
That's insane. That's insane. You can't put sauce on your toppings because then your sandwich slides all over itself.
No.
So there's got to be a balance because you don't want soggy bread, but you also don't want a dry sandwich. So there's
Right.
got to be balance there.
It's got to be an equilibrium. But I'm also one who would prefer a drier sandwich. Like I would always err on the side of being like more dry. Like for example, I could probably get away without any mayo, mustard, barbecue sauce, like any of that stuff, and just having like avocado on my sandwich. Like that's like enough to. But I'm also insane. So I've had people like when they've like seen, like sometimes I'll bring a sandwich and it'll have like no sauce on it and people will freak out. They'll be like, what? Like, how are you eating that?
As they should.
Well, even when I eat salads, people will freak out because like I don't like to put like ranch dressing. Like I don't like putting like a lot of dressing on my salads. Like I'll eat a drier salad versus a salad with lots of dressing on it.
I can see that.
So
where else? I just don't understand this. Where else will you put the sauces if it's not the bottom layer on the bread?
If it's not on the bottom layer.
Yeah, if it's not on the bread, where do you put it? On the cheese? On the meat?
Yeah, maybe you can put it on the cheese or on like your lettuce.
That's insane.
And again, I'm not totally opposed to putting it on the bread, especially if like the bread's been like toasted, or if it's like a nice, good, like, you know, sturdy bread that's maybe that can take a beating with the sauce and not absorb too much of that moisture. But or the worst, and I'm not actually a fan of raw tomatoes, but like when there's like a tomato that's been saturating into the bread.
Yeah, that's
the worst.
That is the worst. Then it just crumbles the bread and your fingers are pressed up against the tomato. Oof.
It's not a pretty picture, as they said in Aladdin.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're moving into think about what you're doing. So first on think about what you're doing. Chips on sandwiches. My question here is this just a cop-out for a weak sandwich that you're having to throw chips on it? Like,
no.
Is your sandwich actually any good and you just need to put you need to put chips on it to save the day? I don't know. That's why I'm saying it's not a do not do. But it's not getting my endorsement. I'm just saying, hey, hit the pause button. You might be working with an inferior sandwich here.
No. Introducing chips Number one is fantastic. Number two, there's two reasons you do it. You add some good texture, plus you get the saltiness from the chips, where you're not getting much saltiness from anything else in a traditional sandwich with
Sure.
that has meat. Sure, maybe the meat could be salty. Cheese, nah. Vegetables, nah. Some sauces are salty, sure, but you got to get that combination of the salt. Well, you don't have to. Chips are an optional. They're extra credit, but the reason you do it is for the saltiness. And I generally only do it with potato chips or a potato type chip variety. I don't
like
like
Doritos
Cheetos
on your sandwich.
Shoving salsa verde Dorito in there.
No.
Nacho cheesy or Cooler Ranch.
No, salt and vinegar is probably the furthest I'll go away from regular potato.
I'm down with the texture of that. When I was a kid, I used to put my Cheez-Its in my PB&J, which I thought was good. But it's a texture thing. I like the crunchies.
Bizarre.
It's like the
I think from texture it's okay.
The what is it? The spicy crunch burrito Taco Bell. What was it called?
Yep.
With the Fritos in it. Yep. Same concept.
Never got
beefy
it,
crunch. Is that what it's called?
The beefy crunch. Yep. The beefy crunch burrito. Yep. Has Fritos in it. Amazing texture. Same thing with the sandwich.
I think we talked about that already. The moment that burrito comes out of that drive-through window, like you need to be ready to tear that wrapping off and start eating immediately because those Fritos will be soggy.
That's true. There are hazards.
The beauty of Taco Bell. I mean, it's just a little steam bomb sitting there, and those things are gonna sweat.
Yep.
So yeah, all right. So again, with the chips, I'm not saying before. Those 9.5 million followers that we have out there tear me apart. Remember, I'm not saying don't do it, but are you just putting the chips on your sandwich because your sandwich isn't very good to begin with, and it's a cop out. That's what I'm worried about.
It is a good save if you're forced to eat a mediocre sandwich. Throw some chips on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But for me, I would just say just make your sandwich better. Chips aren't like the chips to me aren't. I just can't ever see myself having a sandwich with chips on it and being like that was the best sandwich I've ever had. Best sandwich I'll ever have will most likely not have chips on it. Just saying. All right.
They're extra credit.
Yeah, they're extra credit. All right, so this one I can't take credit for this all on my own. One of my favorite people on this planet, Mr. Bobby Flay, likes to do this.
Who?
But it's a good thing to be mindful. So when people are making sandwiches with rolls, and I feel like I was watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives the other day, and they were doing this, but they had this massive sandwich. I mean, 8 inches to a foot tall, and most of it was all bread. With a good amount of meat, but it was just so much bread, and Bobby Flay is really cognizant of this. Whenever I watch him make sandwiches, is like he'll scoop out some of the bread and the rolls that he's using to make the sandwich, so you're not left with just a ton of bread that's overpowering your sandwich. So again, rolls are great. If you've got like a nice big roll, more power to you, but you got to watch your bread to everything else ratios.
I would say the only acceptable roll for a sandwich would be a pretzel roll.
I love a good pretzel roll.
And those are very select types of sandwiches. You can't just throw anything on a pretzel roll. But I don't know. I don't like roll sandwiches because they generally are too much bread. And they just, unless, here's the exception in my book, unless it is the day after Thanksgiving and you've got rolls with like turkey and mashed potatoes or whatever you want to put on it, then it's fine.
But what about?
But I don't want to go to a.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What about a Kaiser roll?
That's what I'm using the word roll like more.
A croissant.
Well, that's different. Croissants are very different.
That's a
roll.
roll.
Croissants are airy.
Je me tuer un croissant.
They're really airy, and you can bite through it super easily. A big, dense roll, it's terrible. And I think only like focaccia.
What about a lobster roll?
What about
That's the kind of what I'm thinking of. Is like that
ciabatta?
kind of bread where, or like what Colby said, like a Kaiser roll, or like ciabatta or something, where it's just like, again, I'm not talking like a dinner roll for crying out loud. I'm just.
What about a Hawaiian roll?
That's bad. I mean, those are usually small, right?
They are pretty small.
But those are fine. No, I don't know. It's a one by one. You know, it depends on the situation. But generally, I would opt for a nice grilled bread instead, or a sub, or something different.
All right.
All right.
Last part of the think about what you're doing. And again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but cold sandwiches, it's like, but could your cold sandwich be hot? Could it be grilled? Could it be toasted? Would it be better that way? I mean, obviously there's certain sandwiches that doesn't work. Like I'm thinking of a good old Italian sandwich, which I love as much as the next guy. It's excellent. I don't think I would ever want to eat an Italian sandwich, toasted or grilled. But more often than not, I'm going to lean towards a toasty or a grilled sandwich versus like your classic cold sandwich.
Depends.
I'm on board.
I mean, generally, I like toasted sandwiches more. But there's certain toppings you can't put on to a toasted sandwich.
Like?
You can't put shredded lettuce or spinach leaves, or I mean, a lot of your leafy
You can
stuff.
after you toast it, and then you put that stuff in there.
Firehouse.
Oh, sure.
Firehouse subs.
Yeah,
That's what
Firehouse
they do.
does that. Quiznos would do that too, I think.
Yeah.
I miss Quiznos. Why didn't anyone like Quiznos besides me?
I love
I love
Quiznos.
Yeah.
Are they gone?
that we still
around
have
you guys?
I never see them. Every now and then I'll stumble on one. I'm like, oh, Quiznos. But how is it that Subway lives on and Quiznos died?
I know. I loved Quiznos.
Quiznos is a lot more expensive.
It is a lot more expensive.
People just didn't go there. We liked them. I never went to Quiznos.
Oh, I did.
That's going to
But
put
yeah,
a business
it is
out of
pricey.
business.
But at least you know you're getting real meat. Wasn't it Subway that they found like they had like a similar ingredient that they used like in yoga mats, and that was in like the bread of Subway sandwiches. Someone fact check me.
You ever tried a yoga mat?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Very good. No, I when I was saying that about the grilled, I was thinking of like EG's, which is a Tucson, mainly Arizona thing. I wouldn't grill or toast any of those sandwiches. They just don't seem like they would work. Mainly because they put the shredded lettuce on like everything, and I mean, I don't really like lettuce in the first place. Like, I'll eat it, but I'll usually take it off the sandwich and eat it separately.
Really?
Yeah, and then eat the rest.
You don't
of
want
the
like a
sandwich.
nice don't you want like a nice little bit of like vegetable to kind of like balance out like the richness of everything else you've got going on in the sandwich?
No, I do it the most at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, you got the cheese, tomatoes, pickles, lettuce. I'll keep everything on there, but I'll just take the lettuce off, eat it, and then eat the rest of the sandwich. But so if the sandwich has lettuce, I'm not toasting it. It's weird.
I just put the lettuce on afterwards.
Me too.
But then it gets all wilty real quick, and
Yeah, it's fine.
You just
In fact,
gotta-
I love wilted spinach.
You'll take wilted leafy greens over mayo?
Yeah. But I'm also a fiend. It's like this sandwich is not sitting around long. I am a speed eater. It will be in my belly before it can wilt too much. All right. Moving on to the last section, which is actually remarkably short. So up in increasing your sandwich game, sandwich enhancers. All right. Number 1. And I think this is like my most important thing, which has probably come out in a few different ways, but gotta have good, durable bread that adds texture to your sandwich. So you either toast your sandwich bread, you have like a nice roll, something that's chewy. That's always a huge plus in my book. And again, if you have the option, always best not to do white. I remember as like a kid, I never was like a huge fan of wheat bread, but now it's like I will take wheat bread over white bread all day, every day, because it has flavor. Or like a good sourdough or like a multigrain. I'll always take that bread.
Is it raisin?
No, I love that.
No.
So
yeah, I think I could get behind that. I mean, quality bread, yeah, it's gonna make a sandwich for sure.
Yeah, I think it's
white with peanut butter jelly. You gotta have white with it. You can't.
Yeah, that's
Wonder Bread.
Yeah,
Wonder Bread with
or Sarah Lee,
Grandma
Iron
Sycamore.
Kids.
Well, Grandma Sycamore is like actually bread. Wonder Bread, I'm not sure what it is.
It's flour and stuff. Duh.
It's got a long shelf life, I think. All right. Grilling, toasting, paninis. These are all gifts given to mankind, and we should be using them. When you have, so yeah, grill, panini, and it is a mess.
Enough
but
said.
It's a price that's being that we're all willing to pay to increase our sandwich game.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, I'm in.
I should have concurred.
All right, and then my last one: spend a little extra on your sandwich ingredients. We don't need to be bargaining for the cheese. We don't need to be bargaining for sandwich meat that's full of water. Again, you spend a little extra. You go after these. Again, I'm not saying you have to go out there and buy the nicest of nice ingredients, but go a little on the high end and have good variety. I mean, again, so often when if I'm ever gonna make a sandwich at home, it's like I'm missing like all the different ingredients that like I would get on a sandwich, like at an actual sandwich shop. And I think that there lies the problem is you need a good inventory of items to keep your sandwich good.
But you can't. You can't.
But
keep
you can't,
that
right?
on hand.
Because like you have to be eating sandwiches like every day to burn through all of those ingredients. So you're better off just going to a good sandwich place rather than making a sandwich from. What I'm getting at here is sandwiches, making a really good sandwich at home. It's hard to do. It's extremely difficult.
Unless it's a peanut butter and jelly, then you always have peanut butter and jelly on hand. Boom! Just need bread.
Boom, roasted. All right. Well, I have to throw in there. I think like it is hard without like super good ingredients to make like a really good sandwich. The deli counter is obviously the go-to instead of like the refrigerated section. But you can spice up and make a pretty good sandwich out of mediocre ingredients if you add some of the right sauces and some of the right spices.
Yep. Salt and pepper. Right there on the tomato with mayo.
Or you just throw potato chips on it. And then you're like, this was the most amazing sandwich. It's like, no, potato chips are just delicious.
No, but like seasoned salt, Parmesan, throw a little Italian dressing. You can make a decent sandwich out of those mediocre Oscar Mayer ham, smoked ham, whateverness.
Mm-hmm. You know who has it right is the Italians. They make the sandwiches that are just right up my alley. You go to like a good Italian deli, and it's just a few simple ingredients on really great bread, and there's no horrific mayonnaise on it. In fact, I have a funny memory of being in Italy, and my father-in-law is obsessed with mayonnaise. The guy loves mayonnaise, and he's like asking the guy at the counter who doesn't really speak English, like, do you have any mayonnaise? It's like, no, they don't put mayonnaise on their sandwiches here. Step up. And the guy was... So anyways, it was a little bit of sweet justice there. Another time where his love for mayonnaise got him sweet justice. So there's a grocery store out here in I guess they're kind of all over, but it's called Sprouts. And you can get yourself a very tasty sandwich there for quite good. And they'll make it there at the deli counter. Anyways, he had the audacity. So he was annoyed with the amount of mayonnaise he was getting on his sandwiches. So he just wanted to say, put mayonnaise on both slices of the bread. But he just wanted them to put like the same amount of mayonnaise that they were putting on the one slice on the second slice. But put yourself in the shoes of that young deli worker. It's like, well, if this guy took the time to complain and write this down on his order, he must really like mayonnaise. So then my father-in-law got a mayonnaise bomb and was complaining about it. I'm just like, sweet justice, my friend. Sweet justice.
Oh, mayonnaise. Have you?
Yeah.
Jimmy John's puts tons of mayonnaise on their sandwiches.
I don't like Jimmy John's. So I've only been to Jimmy John's once, and it was like the day where they were serving like $1 sandwiches, and maybe they were cutting corners on quality that day, but it just wasn't my
I've
favorite.
never been a fan because they just cake the mayonnaise on there.
Yeah, they don't seem to have. I mean, I know they do have a lot of options, but they all taste the same somehow.
Yeah, it's all like the same sandwich. I agree.
Yeah, not my favorite. Not my favorite.
But if they wanted us to say it was really good and paid us to say it, maybe it is really good. I mean, let's not rule it out. Maybe, could be really good.
I will, sandwiches. When we hit 10 million subscribers, I will be eating a Jimmy John's in my Speedo. And I will eat the mayonnaise too.
And spiking a volleyball.
Spiking a volleyball.
I just prefer a nice MLT, mutton, lettuce, tomato. So the mutton's nice and lean.
And the tomatoes
Whatever
are
happened?
It's so perky.
Did you guys grow up eating BLTs?
I love BLTs.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys still eat
With
BLTs? I can't
mayo.
remember the last time I've had a BLT.
Oh, I make them all the time. They're so good.
Huh.
With mayo, of course.
Yeah, it has to have mayo. And put some like Lowry seasoned salt on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, a little seasoning. Yeah. I think Quiznos is definitely the best chain for sandwiches.
Jersey Mike's is pretty good too. But yeah, I think
Jersey Mike's is really good, but I mean,
no,
different. Jersey Mike's is great for those like Philly. I love the Philly cheesesteaks. They're delicious.
Dude, yeah, a good Philly cheesesteak. Obviously anyone who goes to Philly has to try an actual Philly cheesesteak, and I remember in Philly getting one at one of like the classic places, and that was a meal. That was a grease bomb, but it was so good. But yeah, you're just dripping this greasy cheese everywhere, and you're just, how many years of my life did I just take off by consuming this thing?
Yeah, but it's an experience. You got to do it. It's so good.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheese whiz.
You got to do it.
But Firehouse is a great chain. I love Quiznos. Quiznos is great. I just looked it up, and the closest Quiznos to me is like 30 minutes away. But Firehouse is pretty good. I like Firehouse.
Yeah, I like Firehouse too. It's definitely, I mean, I'll take anything over Subway.
I can't even remember the last time I stepped inside a Subway.
Well, that smell inside the Subway. I remember there was this kid in my math class, and he would go straight from class in high school to go working at Subway, and he would just pull his shirt out of his backpack, and that thing just stunk of Subway.
But their honey oat bread, that's pretty good. It's pretty good bread, right?
With the yoga mat filler.
Yeah.
I feel like none of their bread is any good.
I feel like you're not.
It's all like so flat and weird.
Well, I say Quiznos is like the best chain. It's because like the bottom tier restaurants. I mean, there's like Quiznos, Subway. I would even probably throw Firehouse in there. But then you take a step up. Then you're at like your Baggins, and Panera Breads, and
Zupas.
I like Baggins.
Baggins is good.
And
Baggins is very good.
There you can kind of get whatever. Except
I don't like Panera though.
I think they also have like tuna stuff there, which is, not a huge fan.
No.
I will make tuna sandwiches at home sometimes, but I'll never, ever order them if I'm out somewhere.
I wouldn't mind tuna sandwiches if it weren't tuna salad. Just like tuna, the fish. I don't know what that would look like.
Oh, like a fillet?
Tuna fillet sandwich.
Yeah, that'd be
You want a fifth sandwich? Is Baggins local down there?
Yeah.
I think it probably
I've
is
not
Arizona.
seen them in
I don't
Phoenix
think I've
either.
seen them
I
anywhere
think they're
else.
only in Tucson.
Baggins is good though.
But those are actually usually like some of the best sandwich joints are just like little local.
Yeah, I can't think
places.
of a hardcore. I mean, Panera Bread's probably the biggest chain of quality sandwiches. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know why. Maybe Panera bought Paradise, and I liked Paradise. But maybe this is like what we were teasing Colby about how he thinks he likes Costa Vida so much more than he likes Cafe Rio, and I'm like, I don't really like Panera Bread. I liked Paradise.
It's better, I tell you.
Oh man, they do have. Don't they have the mango salad dressing, whereas Cafe Rio doesn't?
I think so, but I think they just got rid of it. I know. I was pretty bummed.
Never going back.
I actually had a Cafe Rio salad this weekend. Man, does it ever hit the spot? But
I only ever get salads at those places anymore. It's all
So
I
do
can
I.
handle.
What do you mean that's all you can handle? Those things, I think those have there's 1,400 calories in those
Yeah,
salads.
but
There's
there's
nothing healthy about them.
But then you think about take all the meat from that and throw it in a burrito with some ton of cheese and beans and I don't know. It's just too much.
Yeah. I love the salads. I actually think you get the most food with the salad.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know me. It's not so much a question of quality, it's quantity. I want to be satisfied after I finish my meal, and eating one of those salads that will fill you up.
That's true. That is true.
Well, Max, I don't think your manifesto is too off the wall. I think.
We're gonna have to have the wife listen to this and see how she responds. Maybe she'll write some hateful comments on Instagram or something.
Your biggest flaws are being a hater of plain mayo and peanut butter jellies.
PB&J. Yeah. The PB&J I recognize is offensive, but but again, if it's just a nasty old regular white sandwich bread sandwich with mayonnaise and a raw tomato sitting in there getting all soggy with just mediocre sandwich meat, I just nope.
Do they have
Can't do it.
porta subs down there? No. Talking about the bottom tier chains, porta subs is pretty good. They slice the meat right in front of you. So,
Yeah, Jersey Mike's does that. That's when you know you're in a pretty good. Quiznos does that too. You know you're in a decent spot. Whereas Subway, they have those little plastic containers that they pull out and just dump it onto your sandwich. You're like, come on, come on.
It's gross. But anyway.
Alrighty. I think we're at time, so I will close this down. So thanks, Jordan and Colby, for putting up with my angry rantings on sandwiches. And for all of our listeners out there, if you want to blast me over email, you can do that at thecouchboard@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you're thinking. And if there's any other topics that you'd like to hear about in future episodes, we'd like to hear about them. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on anywhere you listen to podcasts, from iTunes to Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, etc., etc., etc. We welcome your feedback, only if it is good feedback.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. And maybe one day we'll get to the 10 million, and I will take that Speedo picture. Until then, you stay classy. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
We'll see ya.
Bye.
See you, Ron Burgundy.
How do we want to edit that together since I stopped?
Just rolls.
Rolls.
Whatever. Yeah, say whatever.
Yeah, so I was watching Divers.
We'll take the first. We'll do the first take.
Diners. So I was watching Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.